Here we are, after such a long time of not making these reviews. Season 1, Episode 5, the Enchiridion, is here, and I'm very excited to make this video. I'm curious to know how much I will improve in comparison to what I did for Episode 4 of Season 1, which was Tree Trunks, if I recall correctly. Just a few disclaimers before we get into this. This will be mainly subjective, although I will try to be a little bit objective at times. I don't want to think my opinion is so far out there in comparison to what the general feedback of each episode is. However, I'm sure there will be a few occurrences over the course of the series where the subjectivity is going to be way different from the objectivity. Anyhow, let's get right into the Enchiridion. Boys and girls, I'm very excited. Kicking this episode off, it starts with Finn and Jake in a celebration with the candy people at the Candy Kingdom. It's not specified why they're partying, but it's just kind of happening, and the fact that there's not much behind it kind of takes away from the experience a tad, but that's that. The most important part of the partying scene here is Cinnamon Bun. He tries to do a backflip and actually manages to destroy an entire tower in the process. And as a result, our Princess Bubblegum falls right off. And with a nice catch done by our favorite hero, she is saved. The result of Finn's heroism results in him taking a look at a book known as the Enchiridion, shown through Princess Bubblegum's secret entrance. Finn is told that if he completes a bunch of trials and such on Mount Cragdor and reaches the top, the Enchiridion will finally be his. And that's where our adventure kicks off. Once Finn and Jake arrive at the entrance, all Finn has to do is pick up the Keymaster and shove him inside the keyhole, turn it, open the door, and that's that. Kind of a funny scene, to be honest. From here, it is clear that Jake can smell the Enchiridion. I understand that he's a magic dog and whatnot, but I kind of question this because he's never seen the Enchiridion before. How would he know what it smells like? I'm just going to write it off as he's a magic dog and move on.
I got you.
Thank you for saving us.
Now we can destroy this old lady.
What? Please, don't destroy anymore. Old women.
Every time you look sad, we'll destroy a big old woman.
I'm going to sound like a psychopath for saying this, but that was my favorite scene this entire episode. It was so screwed up in its own way. It looped around to being really funny in the end. It just makes this episode all that much better. This scene is definitely pretty heartwarming and maybe a close second of my favorite of this episode. But what I like about the scene is it really establishes Finn and Jake's brotherly bond. Jake telling Finn that it's not his fault for what happened and Finn was just doing the right thing in the end. Right after this scene, Jake just gets eaten by a giant. I'm sorry, the problem I have with this scene is how did Jake and Finn not see nor hear the giant approaching? I'm so confused about that. Not to mention this whole exchange is just weird. I mean, Jake literally got swallowed by this dude. So, Jake's gonna die if Finn doesn't get him out. But ultimately, Finn does save him. Finn just gives him a good kick in the stomach while he's airborne with his money airplane, and Jake comes rushing out. For Finn's final trial, he's to slay the evil monster that lies before him, and he has no problem doing this. It's when there's an ant presented before him, and it is claimed that the ant isn't good nor evil, it is neutral. And Finn, he's not having any of it.
Congratulations, Finn the human! Now you have truly reached the end.
Maybe declining a bit too much.
Watching you guys on our magical viewing.
Great to see that Jake was correct about the old ladies being alright at the end of the day. A pretty satisfying scene to behold, in all honesty. Finn has achieved the goal that he's been longing for this entire episode, and this goal defines him to a T.
The Enchiridion!
Although I didn't get much chance to comment on the cons, there isn't much presented here. Sometimes the pacing is a little bit iffy, but to condense everything into an 11-minute cartoon episode, pacing's going to become an inevitable problem, so I'm pretty forgiving of that. Other than that, this episode was pretty decent. Probably the best of the first 5, if I'm completely honest. And what's great is that this episode ties into so much lore and storyline in the future of Adventure Time. The only problem is I wish that lore and storyline started connecting earlier than what it actually did. However, that's not a fault of this episode, but more so just the episode progression itself. So, as a whole, this episode is not perfect. I don't think it's an amazing episode, but it's certainly a good episode. It's a B tier episode, I would say. Well, that sums up this episode. If you guys enjoyed, please like and subscribe, comment down, get engaged, all that sweet stuff, and I'll see you in the next Adventure Time review video. Take care for now.